with Breitbart News.
And again, folks, it's Breitbart News Sunday. I'm Matt Boyle, sitting in for Stephen K. Bannon. Our number here, 866-95-PATRIOT, 866-957-2874. We're broadcasting live tonight from the SiriusXM Broadcast Center on Capitol Hill. SiriusXM 125, the Patriot Channel. We got on the line right now 11-time New York Times bestselling author, and her latest book is Adios America, Ann Coulter, key conservative columnist as well. And thank you for taking the time on Sunday night to give us a call.
Sure, good to talk to you, Matthew Boyle.
And so, Ann, you know what's really interesting? Before we get into the whole House speakership race and all that kind of good stuff, I think there's been a handful of us that have been, willing to question the entire establishment onslaught of Senator Marco Rubio. As I like to joke, President Rubio for the Fox News keeps trying to push on us. I mean, you look at his fundraising numbers that just came out a couple days ago. In the last quarter, he only raised $6 million. That's pennies on the dollar. It's such a paltry little number that I mean, he's going to have to start firing staff or something soon if he's going to put ads on television. Did you call this one way ahead of time? I mean, is Rubio on the way down?
Well, from the headlines I've been reading, he's surging, Matthew. He's surging.
So why do you think it is that the media is pushing him so hard?
That was going through his numbers over the past few months, and in this state, that state, the other state, and he's down a point here, he's up a point here, he's down 3 points there, and the article in Slate, the headline was, no, Marco Rubio is not surging. It's just the damnedest thing that the media picks their favorites, and they've decided this one is surging, and the other side of the coin from that is, no matter how well Trump keeps doing, and the numbers are pretty miraculous.
32% in the latest Gravis poll in New Hampshire. So, that's absolutely incredible, isn't it? I don't think this many candidates in a field. I don't think this has ever happened before, that one of them has 32% in New Hampshire.
No, I don't think it has. I've been looking up some of the history on this, and it is meaningful. First, we were told that the guy who's ahead in the summer, he's never the nominee. So I went back and I looked it up, and it took many days on Nexus. And no, actually, the guy who's ahead the summer before an election year is always the nominee. The exceptions are the odd cases where there's some weird circumstance to explain it. Such as Hillary and Obama, and it took the Democrats, as it seems to be taking them this time around, a really long time to build up the nerve to tell Hillary, no, we really don't want you. But usually it is the guy who's ahead. I've never seen numbers with someone ahead this much, so that was a lie. The nonsense about the guy leading in the summer before, no, he's never the nominee. Then we kept hearing that we're going to get a slump, and anytime, if you take this many polls, they're polls, they're samples. Right. So every once in a while, you are going to get a poll where even the front runner drops. That's the outlier. Right. That the outliers tend not to be as meaningful. But oh my gosh, Trump goes down a few points in a poll, and it's the slump. This is the beginning of the end. Maybe it is. Maybe it won't be Trump. But that argument is nonsense. And I've noticed recently, it's been holding steady now for a few weeks, or in the upper 20s or low 30s. Now we're told, well, that's a ceiling. You can't get more than that. Well, maybe, but why aren't the other guys' numbers? Why aren't those their ceilings?
Right. Well, Marco Rubio's position on immigration, which is, he supports essentially endless immigration and wide open borders, a massive increase in immigration numbers, and also an amnesty for all the illegal immigrants who are here. So not actually securing the border, not actually doing enforcement. That kind of position is the kind of thing that could maybe turn off the Republican base so they don't show up and vote for you in the general election if you do somehow get the nomination. Maybe Marco's ceiling is where he is. I don't know.
And not only the Republican base, quite a lot of the Democratic base, a large part of the African American vote, which I think Trump will do quite well with. I was just looking up what the candidates' positions were on immigration just at random, in 1996. And every single candidate, every Republican, Phil Gramm, Bob Dole, I forget who the rest of them even were, and Bill Clinton, of course. I think that was the year Buchanan ran, but there were about 5 Republicans running. Every single one of the Republicans was for at least a temporary or much longer reduction or outright halt of legal immigration in order to stop illegal immigration. And as I point out in my book, I mean, all these guys, when they're running for office, including Marco Rubio, swear up and down that they're opposed to amnesty, swear up and down that they care about the American worker, and, you know, we have to revise the laws on legal immigration because we're just getting too many low-wage workers. And then they get to office, and most of them, not quite as aggressively as Marco Rubio, but most of them either forget about those pledges or, like Marco, become the leader of the pro-amnesty movement. But the point is, when the voters are consistently lied to like that, and like I say, I just happened to look up the 1996 presidential candidates, going back 20 years, candidates keep lying to the voters. That at least tells us one thing: they know what the voters want. They know that in order to be elected, they should be against mass immigration and definitely against illegal immigration. I think we know they knew what the voters wanted even before Trump's poll numbers.
Right. So now, kind of shifting gears a little bit, the same people that have been telling us that Marco Rubio is surging, even though he can't even raise any money from the base, from grassroots donors anywhere. I mean, Ben Carson and Ted Cruz, the fundraising numbers just blow Marco Rubio's numbers away.
Cruises are really impressive, and nobody is talking about that.
12 million, he doubled Rubio, and Carson's were 20 million. And and Carson's going to be on the show later tonight. I can't wait to talk to him. And we went down on the border with him and everything. He's in favor of restricting, shutting down the border. I mean, he's still a little bit weak on the in terms of the legal immigration stuff, and I think we need to talk about that. But other than that, when it comes to illegal immigration, Carson's awesome. And but that being said, the same people that are pushing Rubio on us is if he's this great next savior, and it's just not happening, are pushing Paul Ryan as the next Speaker of the House. And the latest story we've got up on that we've got 3 stories on Drudge right now from Breitbart about Paul Ryan, and one of them goes through how he's super open borders. Another one goes through how he champions, and if he gets in, he'll strong arm through the Obama trade Trans-Pacific Partnership deal. And then the third one goes through how, despite everything that the establishment is telling us, he doesn't actually have the 218 votes. He might be able to get it later if he makes a whole bunch of promises and whatnot, but that there are plenty of other Republicans now looking at running for Speaker. Why do you think it is that the political establishment's pushing Paul Ryan on us?
Well, the donors do want the cheap labor. They will never give up on this. They really think the donors' money is, I mean, I know you've been citing it, but I must say I don't think donor money matters quite as much as it used to. Not as many people are watching TV. That's what the money is necessary for, the TV ads. But a lot less people are watching TV. And most of them are quite a bit older. The newer generations are getting their news much more from the internet and social media. It'll be interesting. I mean, if Trump were to become the president, he will not only be the wealthiest president we've ever had, he will be the president who spent the least amount of money to win the presidency. But I think this is kind of a con going on with the political consultants and the big money people, and the candidates themselves, because the consultants make a percentage of the amount of money spent on the campaign. So the consultants love the TV ads. Well, even for people who watch TV, nobody watches the commercials. You TiVo stuff, or you change the channel.
Or you watch Netflix.
Now. Right, Netflix and Hulu are so much bigger than regular TV. So I think that has been kind of a scam, but the donors they consider the voters, or at least the big bad donors who don't care about American culture, American traditions, or traditional America. They just want to make their pile and retire, move off to an island or something. they consider the voters an impediment to the constant importation of cheap labor and outsourcing of other jobs. But this time, Trump is really giving the voters a way to say, no, we do matter.
And so now, back last week, you were on Howie Carr's show, our friend Howie, and I was talking to them, and we had a story up on Breitbart about this, where you had Paul Ryan a couple of years ago, I think it was, had said, "I'll debate anybody, anywhere, any place," about the Gang of Eight immigration bill that his friend Marco was pushing over in the Senate and that he supported. And you took him up on that, and you challenged him to a debate. Has Paul Ryan gotten back to you? Is he going to actually debate you? Do you think he's too chicken to do it?
I doubt he will. That really came up at the end of the interview. I thought the highlight was being thrown out, Paul Ryan as our topic, and Paul Ryan taking Jack Kemp as his mentor. And I want to get back to that whole psychology of the Kemp-Ryan types on this business. I think there's something very odd going on. But anyway, off the top of my head, without warning, Matt Boyle, I remembered what it is I dislike most about Jack Kemp, and I really think tells you a lot about him. And that was when he was a vice presidential candidate running against, debating in 96, I guess it was, debating Al Gore. Al Gore pulled that sleazy Democrat move of complimenting Jack Kemp for not being a racist like the rest of his party, and Jack Kemp's response was essentially, "Why, thank you."
And so, can you walk through like how close was Paul Ryan and Jack Kemp? I mean, these guys were like hand in glove. I mean, he was like his mentor, really, right? I mean, like how serious is that? I mean, what do you mean when you say there's something odd going on?
Oh, the psychology of people like this. I find it very strange. Let's see how to put this. These Republicans, look, I think the Republican Party, the American people do owe African Americans something. I don't think what the Democrats did was very nice, destroy the black family. But black Americans do have a special place in American society, which is why I'm enraged at the idea of immigrants piggybacking and stealing the civil rights, the special benefits that are intended exclusively for blacks in America. This is the whole genesis of civil rights. There was slavery, there was Jim Crow, and, other groups may try to imitate it by putting up, finding someone who sneered at this or that immigrant. Yeah, okay, and probably every immigrant group went through that a little bit. Do not compare that to slavery. Give me a break on that. Right. So I do think blacks have a special place in the Republican Party. They traditionally have been Republicans, and I think we should win them back, and I'm very happy it looks like Donald Trump is on a path to do so. But the suck-up Republicans who come up with the stupidest ways to suck up to black people, like Jack Kemp and Paul Ryan, by for example, I know, they're black and Mexican immigrants, they're kind of beige, so let's give amnesty to the Mexicans and black people will love us. I mean, there's just something weird about it. Don't you know any black people?
Right. Well, I mean, they don't. It's like it's almost like they don't even like it's. They're pandering, but they're not like they're not even seriously pandering.
Exactly.
Right.
I wouldn't even mind a little useful pandering.
Right.
But pandering in such a stupid way. Only at the RNC is there such a thing as Black Hispanic unity. There isn't even Hispanic unity.
Right. No, I mean, the Cubans don't like the Central Americans, and
Mexicans are constantly driving blacks out of neighborhoods out here in L.A.
Right.
I mean, shooting them. There's no white guilt with the Mexicans. They'll just go around and shoot blacks to clean them, and they're perfectly open about it. We are clearing blacks out of this neighborhood. They're taking affirmative action to get small business loans, to get into colleges. The idea that if we just run someone slightly beige, it will be catnip to all the minorities in America. It shows so how utterly out of touch that the RNC and certain Republicans are, and it's just a very weird psychology.
And so, Ann, in the last couple of minutes we got left here, I wanted to ask you one more thing. So there's another. I kind of like her. I think she can win 218 votes in the House. She was on the show at the beginning of the show here, Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee.
I love her.
What do you think? I mean, do you think she should run for Speaker? Do you think she'd win?
I ought to say I don't know the House members that well. All I care about is, are they with Donald Trump, you and me, on immigration? It is the litmus test in so many ways. It's an IQ litmus test.
And Marsha, by the way, she pushed through defunding executive amnesty alongside Ted Cruz.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I love her for that. It shows that it is someone who is smart. It shows it's someone who puts the voters first. I definitely want someone who can talk. Can we please get someone who can talk?
And she can do that, too.
We have some smart Republicans, often interviewed on this program. We have some smart ones. We have some who can talk. I'm just getting so sick of this, Matt Boyle, whether it's in the House or the Senate or, remember the White House? I'm sick of Republicans who can't put two sentences together. So I think there are a fair number of good ones. The main point, and I think the main litmus test for all of those things, is where do they stand on immigration. I mean, I also like, Duncan Hunter, Alex Mooney. We have a number. Steve King. I mean, I don't know what their relationships are and other issues, how many votes they can get. But those are the things we need to look at.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Ann Coulter. Thank you for taking the time to give us a call on Sunday night.